Hello and welcome to the Blog Rundown, the weekly show from Movie Burner Entertainment, where we discuss all the latest written reviews, that is, from our official website. Joining me as always is John, and we've got 3 films coming up for you, and the first is Ghost in the Shell from 2017, which was written by our senior writer Darren. John?
Yes, it was, and this is of course the Rupert Sanders directed and Shiro Masamune written film. I say Shiro Masamune because it's based on a manga comic, Steve, and it's a Japanese manga series which has been converted into live action with a lot of controversy ensuing. I actually did a review for this film myself, Stephen, about a year ago, as you well know, and I dived into that controversy. Darren briefly hints at it in his review as well. The controversy was mostly surrounding Scarlett Johansson's casting, the leading protagonist.
Yeah, okay.
I think it was Major, I think she was called. She wasn't really given any specific name.
Yeah.
But she was obviously not an Asian ethnicity person. So her being cast as the leading protagonist in an Asian manga series created a lot of issues. There was calls of whitewashing and whatnot. I got over it pretty quickly. I wasn't too fussed by it. I think Darren shares my sentiments. He wasn't that bothered either. I totally understand that in today's society, when you're taking this kind of that niche sort of a genre from the Far East and bringing it into Western society, you need a big Hollywood star to come in and obviously bolster the film and bring in maybe a new audience that wasn't going to be interested in the film.
You found that we were talking off air, John, about another film that had similar repercussions, The Ring, from the early 2000s, where a lot of the sort of diehard Japanese film fans thought the remake was a bit of an abomination of the original. I can see what the likes of Rupert Sanders is trying to do. He has tried to bring a very interesting story to a Western audience, and sometimes you have to be a bit more open to your casting, if you like. In this case, I have not seen the film, but I do remember when it was released, it did get a lot of good feedback. Scarlett Johansson as well. Darren mentions in his review that she's quite a flexible actress, and I think she is as well. I sometimes do find it uncomfortable to see her in like a comedy, because I'm not used to seeing Scarlett Johansson in a comedy, but she's okay in it, in that genre. But I'm used to seeing her in more like action films, like the Avengers series and stuff like that. But this film, Darren actually does say, I think it's something to do with the visuals. He wasn't very satisfied with the visuals overall, John, and I know that you disagree with that point.
Yeah, not so much disagree, but my review, I say one of the main things I enjoyed about the film was actually the visuals. That's not to say they were outstanding by any means, but it was certainly above par visuals for me. And the story itself, I'm not, as I says in my review, I don't know about Darren, but I wasn't hugely familiar with the manga anime sort of a genre. I'm not a big anime fan, so I came into this as a complete novice to the story, the character, and just what was going on, the mythology, and what struck me was the visuals. I thought it was kind of like a Blade Runner sort of a light version.
I was going to ask you that, John. It doesn't matter what film it is. It's Blade Runner seems to be the template for these type of films, especially futuristic films.
It's a dark dystopian future
with a cityscape as well. You've got the likes of the Fifth Element as well, which always people will compare it to Blade Runner. And as I said, those opening sequences in Attack of the Clones as well was very Blade Runner-esque as well. As I said, Blade Runner is the sort of daddy, if you like, of that genre. I know that Darren says that this is like a sort of cheaper version of it. I can't comment on that. I've not seen the film, so I'm not really familiar with the visuals. I
don't know if cheaper would be the right word, Stephen, because I can't imagine that the original Blade Runner from 1982, I believe it was, 1982, 1983, couldn't have had a massive budget. It was a cult classic release. Wasn't a big budget film. I think they utilised a lot of practical effects and set and stuff like that. Certainly didn't go into the heavy CG that you see in Ghost in the Shell. But the story itself, I thought it was an interesting story. Whether it was tackled or handled in the best manner, I don't know, because I'm not a fan of the franchise or the anime stories. But I enjoyed it for what it was. It was very much Blade Runner rip-off for me. Obviously the character of Major has these implants implanted into the shell. She's trying to seek out her humanity. She's getting these glitches. She meets up with the antagonist, whose name I can't remember at the moment. I think it was Kuz, played by Michael Pitt. And he is a similar kind of a villain to Rutger Hauer's villain in Blade Runner, where he's got a touch of humanity. You understand why he's doing what he's doing. He's got a backstory which gets fleshed out. They kind of a connect, and that acts as a sort of a turning point in the story. She then goes off in a different arc trying to discover her real origins and stuff. Climatic finale battle that Darren goes on about, he does say that I don't think he was overly enamoured with it. I thought it was okay. It was a little bit CG heavy. The story was a little bit muddled in parts. I can totally understand that. And for the most part, I agree with Darren. But I thought it was a watchable film. I thought it was passable. And you look at its box office performance as well. I mean, it's not great, is it? This whitewashing controversies obviously hurt the box office performance. Only grossed $169.8 million. It had a fairly whopping budget of $110 million, so it was a financial flop.
Yeah.
But from a critical standpoint, I thought it was okay. Decent visuals, a very good performance from Scarlett Johansson, despite the controversy over her casting, and I get some enjoyment out of it. I think Darren probably gets slightly less enjoyment than me.
Well, his final thoughts were an odd mess, watchable to a point, but a missed opportunity to be sure. He actually rated this film 4 out of 10. So
well, there you go.
It's
all subjective, Steve.
Yeah,
it's all subjective.
Exactly. That's it. But we're going to move on to the next film, John.
Yes.
This is one that DM Anderson brought to us earlier this week. It's called Attraction, and this is. I'll let you do the honours of pronouncing some of the people behind this film, John. This is a Russian-based film.
Thank you so much, Steve. Yeah, well, it was directed by Fyodor Bondarchuk, and it was written by Oleg Malovchko. I want to say, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I think it's Malovchko. And also Audrey Zoloratore. I can't say these names. I thank you so much, Stephen, for passing that one to me. Stars a little bit more pronounceable. Irina Strashenbaum.
You know I always throw you under the bus.
Yeah, you throw me under the bus, Stephen. That's what I love about you. Alexander Petrov and Rino Mukhametov is the stars. I don't know any of them.
No.
I don't know the director. Do not know the writers. But I do enjoy DMs or Darren or Dave, I should say.
Yeah. Do you want to try and pronounce the original title of the film?
No, I don't.
Okay,
no, I don't. No. That's in Russian, Stephen, and I can't speak Russian. But look, the review is brilliant from Dave. I thought it was a very intriguing little read, as it always is with his reviews. He's a very talented chap. He's basically saying it's got a big bombastic opening crash sequence where this alien mothership is crashing down into, I believe, Moscow.
Yeah,
and it's wrecking buildings left, right, centre, killing hundreds of people. And then it kind of gets bogged down. It gets into a sort of a District 9 strangeness, Cloverfield weirdness, where you've got this woman going with her hunky boyfriend to try and track down these aliens, becomes sidetracked with meeting another hunkier alien, as Dave calls him, and then they go off and try to get him to his ship, and they've got infighting between her father, her partner, or boyfriend, or whatever. And it's all very Independence Day come Russia. You know, it's their take of Independence Day without the star-studded appearances of the likes of Will Smith in there. So
he does mention, there's this helpful hunk, that instantly is able to jump into one of these biomechanical body armours to wage war on the aliens.
You see that all the time,
exactly how to work this contraption. And as we said, Will Smith was the same in Independence Day.
You've just got to let your barriers go down and just let reality seep out, and just enjoy it for what it is. And with these films, you've got to a bit of escapism. You can't take things too seriously. Just let it slide. I'll slide. Also, as you said, Will Smith with the alien washer.
Dave, he mentions the opening crash scene as well is worth. It's worth watching it just for that alone. It's obviously they've invested a lot of their time in making sure that opening sequence is very impactful.
You can't imagine it's got a big budget. I mean, that probably the vast majority of the budget has been used up in this big accelerating intro. So
well, Dave does say it's CG heavy. A lot of people would think that you're throwing money at a film that's going to use a lot of computer generated imagery, but that's not the case. It seems to be the cheaper option these days rather than use practical effects.
Yeah, practical effects, as we've seen in Star Wars, sometimes the big budget films will utilise a mixture of practical effects, puppetry and stuff like that with CG. But look, as I said, really enjoyed the review. He says it's got an impressive production design, spots of humour in there, both unintentional and intentional, which every sci-fi film needs. Independence Day is a bit of a cult classic now. That most recent one was an absolute abomination, but the original had spots of unintentional humour and little things in there that makes it a classic film, a rewatchable film. Obviously it has, I forget his bloody name, Jeff Goldblum. Who sees getting into jazz, Steve, and he started playing the piano, so well done, Jeff.
Well, it's got to be better than that second Independence Day film anyway, so hats off to him. I do like the movie poster as well. I do like
it's a very intriguing poster.
Yeah, the little girl looking onto that crash sequence there.
Wish that was me. No, I don't.
So we're going to move on to our final movie this week, John. It's one that I reviewed actually, and it's from 2018. This is the Happytime Murders. This stars Melissa McCarthy, Elizabeth Banks, Maya Rudolph, a whole host of stars. This is directed by, I think, Jim Henson's son Brian Henson, which I was very surprised about because there was a little bit of controversy in regards to one of the movie title posters in regards to Sesame Street. I think it was in all the newspapers here as well.
They were flirting with a lawsuit there.
Yeah,
it's a bit like George Harrison and Ringo Starr back in the day. There was that close to getting sued.
Thankfully, Brian Henson, he won that one anyway. They were actually inadvertently, they were actually bigging up Sesame Street in a way.
There you go.
So Melissa McCarthy, I think we've made comments about her on our podcast, John, back in the day. I thought she was great in this. I said to you, she reminded me of a female John Goodman in this movie. Very rough around the edges, very crabbit, as a Scottish word. And also just that. I was talking to Kevin about this, our fellow movie burner, and he said he summed it up perfectly. He said it's like a Muppet version of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where the toons are living with the humans in the real world, rather in this case it's the Muppets. They're seen as second-class citizens, and this is I'll just read the synopsis of this. It's when the puppet cast of a 90s children's TV show begin to get murdered one by one, a disgraced LAPD detective turned private eye puppet takes on the case. Now this is it's a fantastic film. It really is. I really enjoyed it. I think it's because I went into the movie not expecting much. I found it was very, very funny at times. It had the same kind of tone as Team America, very adult orientated humour. And when you
Matt Damon.
It really does. It really does. When you're seeing that kind of humour with whether it be puppets as in Team American puppets or with these almost Muppet-like puppets, it's very surreal at times, and it does really add to the humour as well. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. It doesn't really it's very average ratings on IMDb, 5.3 out of 10. But I suppose like most comedies, it's really down to your taste in comedy. I found it very surreal at times, very funny, very unexpected humour as well. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought Melissa McCarthy was really well. She played a right good character in it. A very grumpy copper. I'm just trying to look for the chap. He's very low down on the cast list, the chap that actually voiced the Phil Phillips. It's Bill Beretta. I thought he was fantastic because I heard his voice and it sounded very familiar. I looked up his name on IMDb. I wasn't very familiar with the chap at all, but he's got a very distinctive voice as well.
Yeah, well, that all helps. Certainly, if he's playing a Muppets, sort of figure, that's you're halfway there to being stardom and that kind of a subgenre. I was going to touch upon the ratings, Stephen, because I haven't seen this film, because you do know my thoughts on Melissa McCarthy. Not a big fan of her or Amy Schumer. Dislike Amy Schumer a little bit more than Melissa McCarthy, to be fair. It's not so much dislike for Melissa McCarthy than it is I just don't like her face and her films. So Amy Schumer, I just think she's a deeply dislikable person. What she's done to the likes of Steve-O and things like that, can't get on board with her comedy or her humour at all, or brand of humour. Melissa McCarthy, it's just some people you just don't take to in terms of like actor performances. You've seen it with Tom Cruise and the likes of that. Some people just despise the guy no matter what, and they've got valid reasons with the whole Scientology thing. But the ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, I was going to touch upon that, Stephen. The critics gave it 23%, the audience members 42%. So they're saying it's an average experience, really. That's equating to below average in fairness with the critics, but they're never ever going to connect with this type of film. That says it time and again on Box Office Chat and on the blog rundown over the last year or so. They're into their specific genre of films, the more serious, drama-driven, art house sort of a films which will be going for Oscar and awards contention. Sort of a awards and stuff like that. This Muppets type film, comedy heavy film with a Melissa McCarthy figure, they're not going to get on board with it. But look, I'm a big fan of the Muppets, as you do know, Steve. One of my all-time favourite films when I was a young kid was the Muppets at Christmas. So I could maybe get away with watching this film despite Melissa McCarthy's appearance in that.
I think you'd enjoy it just for the humour, John. But
well, I mean, it's an intriguing story. Just the concept of these Muppets being second-class citizens, and I'll live and breathe in the live-action world, and they're getting murdered off one by one, and she has to go in and solve a crime. And who's the perpetrator?
The execution and making these puppets believable, like walking around in the real world, was very well done as well.
It's
a lot of green screen and stuff like that, but very similar to the way that BB-8 was operated with a man dressed up in green, you know.
Well, we've seen it with obviously Yoda and stuff like that as well. The amount of people that go into the process of making these puppets living, breathing, well, obviously not living and breathing, not living and breathing, but like moving figures. It's sometimes 2 or 3 people to each puppet. And the amount of work it goes into making their mouth move along with the dialogue and stuff, it can be a painstaking process. So I tip my hat to anybody that's involved in that line of work. Some of my favourite films are live action, or stop motion I should say, and just the dedication and the dying art that is. So that'd be another reason to give it a bash.
Yeah, so no Sesame, all street, that was the tagline. But that brings us to the end of this week's episode of the Blog Rundown. We'd just like to thank you once again for tuning in, and if you'd just like to hit that subscribe button, it's greatly appreciated, and we will join you again tomorrow for the Force Friday show.